Black magic. You got to know, got to show, it's time to roll. So just tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want, so just tell me what you want to hear.
Welcome back to another edition of RatG TV. It's your boy Zeus, and with you, or with me, as he is every week, the Wellandwingnut himself, Steve Lambert. How's it going, my brother?
Hey,
What's going
it's
on,
going.
man? It's
Not
going.
much, man. Slow week. Temperatures finally gotten to a tolerable.
Right? Thankfully. Like, it's
Yeah.
been crazy hot out there, but we finally saw a break in some of that heat this week.
And it's looking that's the way we're trending. So let's hope it stays that way.
Here's what I'm hoping. Can we just have fall weather for like the next 365 days? Is that too much to ask?
Right.
Is that too much to ask? Like, I'll settle for some spring weather as well, because we need the rain. I get that as well. But I'm not going to lie. My son and I went out last night, I think it was, or the night before. We went outside and had our shorts and T-shirt on, and we were cold.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so weird, though, because had it been spring and the same temperatures, we would have been sweating our balls off and been like, oh, it's so nice out. Like, the shorts and T-shirt is too much right now.
Yeah.
It's funny how our body gets acclimated like that. But
Yeah, I usually get up around 5:30 during the weekend. I go let the dog out, and I'm like, ooh, there's a little chill in the air.
so it was you.
Right.
Who?
We let the dog.
He let the dogs out. I'm sorry, folks. I am a dad. I do tell dad jokes. If you didn't know that by now, where the hell have you been the last 14 years? Like this, this is what we do on this show, most especially me. But yeah, was a not bad week. Shang-Chi premiered. I went and took my son to see that. I enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty good. I'll give maybe a little spoiler-free type review later. But you've got your 5-second movie review this week as well. And what do you have for us this week?
Yeah, I've got the BET original movie Karen, starring. Oh, geez, I don't have her name in front of me.
It's Karen.
I meant to write it down. If you've seen Orange is the New Black, she plays one of the main characters in Orange is the New Black. Oh, I'm going to get her name for us here.
Yeah. Luke Tuff says, good evening, guys. Much love, etc., etc. Blumhouse rules. He didn't say that, but I'm just going to put that out there for him.
Well, you might as well say it before him, right?
Yeah, I know. And before he does say that, there is something else I know he will say.
And Blumhouse does rule. I agree.
Blumhouse does rule, and Steve agrees, as well as Clanny agrees. So we just got that all out of the way at once.
And when you have Clanny's support, there's nothing you can't do.
Now, remember, we said Clanny with a Y.
Right. Taryn Manning, who plays Karen in the movie. She was also, like I said, in Orange is the New Black. So, yeah.
Karen is played by Taryn with a T?
Taryn, yeah. Taryn. Taryn.
All right. Well, there you go. Listen, let's say your name was Karen, would you hate this?
Yeah.
Like, really, though?
It's got to be tough. I remember hearing a few months ago on the radio that it has plummeted down the list of baby names.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
we definitely won't be seeing too many Karens in the future.
Karens and Kyles, right?
Kyles, right.
Damn you, Clanny does rule, and Blumhouse is awesome. Hey, that's what we do. We aim to please, brother. We aim to please. That's what we do here. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to, as I have an earthquake here, I'm looking forward to your review of Karen.
Yeah, this movie wasn't based on any one particular Karen. It kind of took a conglomerate of some of the Karen stories that we've heard over the last couple of years, and it got extreme.
Yeah, no doubt. And just so you know, not one Karen in this cast.
No.
Well, maybe Lisa. Just saying. I'm just kidding. We love you, Lisa Turtle. And rest in peace. There it is. Dustin Diamond. Well, buddy, the reason why I've
for like a half a second, I was like, Lark Voorhees died?
I mean, no. Her career,
and
maybe.
That automatically reminded me of watching. We were at the movies watching Rogue One, and when what's his name, Admiral
Akbar?
No, geez, I can't remember the guy's name, but he comes on screen and Amber
Thrawn?
like, isn't that guy like really old? And I'm like, yeah, he's been dead for years. It's CGI.
Yes. Oh my God, I can't remember his name either. But he's in all of them.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin, thank you. Okay. Yeah, sorry. As my phone goes off, as I thought it was off. That's what I'm just turning it off there. Yeah, Grand Tarkin is the one for sure. Rogue One is the best. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. Rules. Yes, I think that's pretty much agreed amongst almost everyone that even if it's not your particular favorite movie, if someone says Rogue One is the best of all time, of all of them, nobody ever argues with them. They're like, okay, yeah, I could see where you're coming from with that. So, yeah. And yeah, I agree. Rogue One. I think Rogue One was the best Star Wars movie so far. Best Star Wars IP so far has been the Clone Wars, though, followed closely by the Bad Batch. Just putting it out there for you folks. So why do I have Saved by the Bell behind me? I mean, it's loosely related to what we're talking about. We're talking about the best school-related movies that either of us have seen or that you at home have seen.
Because if we added TV shows to this, the list would be even longer than it already is.
This was a hard list to put together. Like, I am telling you, if you ask me to do this list even 10 minutes from now, my list is going to be different than what it is right now. There are so many good shows or good movies that got bumped off my list that, could make it back on. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. We want to know what your favorites are as well. So let us know in the comments. We'll pop them up there and give them a talking about. And one day we're going to try to figure this out, how we can have one of you folks join us during the show if you want. Like, there are ways to do it, but so far it's only if you're a friend of mine and I can send you the invite. But we are working on it. We are. I promise. And Luke won't take up all our time, I promise. Yes, you will. If Blumhouse did Star Wars, did Rogue One would be it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And yes, I agree. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Good one. Definitely up there. Now, so we'll go through our list. Steve starts us off as he does every week. Folks, if you want to drop yours throughout the entire show, that's fine. Let us know in the comments. We'll post them up at some point for sure. But Steve, if you're ready, sir, you can start off with your first.
Yeah, I tried to pick a couple from each of the last few decades that, I grew up in, like the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. So my list is definitely vast in that aspect. So we're going to start out with 1988 and a movie called Heathers, starring Winona Ryder, Christian Slater, Shannon Doherty. It's basically kind of a Mean Girls story. These girls were like super mean, and the
Heathers.
And there was a plot to kill the Heathers. So,
right.
Yeah.
And this was a fantastic movie, and I can't tell you how happy I was that you put this on your list because I really wanted to. There were a lot of Christian Slater movies I wanted to put on here. Pump Up the Volume, Gleaming the Cube, both great school era movies. And Heather's probably the top of all of those.
Yeah.
I don't know that Pump Up the Volume would still stand today.
Yeah, I watched it not recently, but I'm going to say I watched it within the last 10 years, and I still liked it.
Really? Now, what about something like Gleam in the Cube? That was the skateboarding movie, right?
Right. That's one I probably haven't seen in closer to 20 years.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even remember what that one's about, to be honest. Aside from the skateboarding.
A young Tony Hawk in that movie.
Tony Hawk was in that?
Yeah, a very young Tony Hawk. Yeah, he didn't have any lines or anything, but no. Yeah, he was in there. Yeah.
Well, they were onto something there. We've seen Tony act. Mitchell says real quick, The Breakfast Club is a classic. Facebook user, I assume you're commenting on the RatG TV group. Says number 1, Empire. Oh, Rogue One. You're talking about Star Wars. Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, the best Star Wars movies. Yeah.
Sorry if I comment too much. No, buddy. You're fucking good, brother. We love it.
It's like a Tourette thing. I love it. It's like a Tourette thing. Luke is like Clubhouse. At the end of every sentence, Clubhouse.
Exactly. Christian Slater rocks in it for sure. Christy Lee says, obviously The Breakfast Club, Fast Times at Ridgemount High. Yeah. Lean on Me almost made my list. Here's something I'm going to say, Christy. Yeah, here's something I'm going to say, Christy, and you might hate me for this. I find Fast Time at Ridgemount High very overrated. I find it a very, very hard movie to sit through. I find the acting in it. Put it this way. It took me a really long time to like Sean Penn as an actor, to take him as a serious actor like everyone else saw him, because of
what's your problem?
It was so over the top. Like, I mean, we're not even from California, and we're like, there's no way. There's no way. And it was like they're doing Bill and Ted before Bill and Ted. Happy Labor Day weekend, guys. Cheers. Old school, best movie ever. Funny as fuck, and actually has a decent storyline. You're my boy, Blue. I say this all the time. That is my favorite Will Ferrell movie. And I'm not a Will Ferrell guy. And Luke says Lean On Me was great. Yeah, Lean On Me was fantastic. That almost made my list because, I mean. Yeah,
it's a good movie for sure.
There's Morgan Freeman. Go ahead, buddy.
Jumping into the 2000s, 2007 gave us Superbad, which thrust a lot of young actors into the spotlight. I mean, Jonah Hill was in this thing, Seth Rogen, Emma Stone, the list goes on.
Michael Cera.
Yeah, Michael Cera. Funny movie.
Bill Hader. Yeah, this was a really fun movie. I like this. This is Judd Apatow's, I think, his first feature film, right? Because before this, he had done Freaks and Geeks, which I loved, and I don't know many people who watched that.
Yeah, there's only one season, right?
Right, and then he came out with another show right after that called Undeclared. It had Charlie Hunnam in it from Sons of Anarchy, Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel, and a few other of the normal Judd Apatow people. I think even what's his name from How I Met Your Mother might have been in that as well. Tall guy with the big dick in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Superbad, yes. It didn't age well, but I love it. Yeah, I hear that a lot about a lot of movies. And when people say that, I don't think they mean that they don't like it by it doesn't age well. I mean, but in today's climate, it doesn't age well. Like trying to watch any fucking Mel Brooks movies nowadays, it's like, yeah, we love it, but anyone that's a newer generation, they're not going to love it because they're not going to understand the tongue-in-cheek humor.
And I'm one of those weird guys. Like I like, old B black and white horror movies. Like I just absolutely like Ed Wood movies. I absolutely love that stuff. So
yeah. Same. Well, I mean, some of it. I mean, let's be real.
This one, I love this movie. I just watched it a few months ago because Amber had never seen it. We're going to jump back into the 80s here. 1987, The Principal with Louis Gossett Jr., Jim Belushi, and daughter of Tommy Chong, Ray Dawn Chong.
Ray Dawn Chong. A lot of people just know her as Tommy Chong's daughter. In the 80s, there was a moment where she was fucking red hot. Yeah, she was in, what Arnold Schwarzenegger movie was she in?
Commando, I believe.
Commando, right? Yeah. And then she was in a bunch of action movies at the time. She was really the first, she's black, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever Tommy is. I think Tommy's just a white dude.
Yeah.
But she was really one of the first acceptable black lead women to star opposite white dudes, like white action stars, because you never ever saw that, and nobody said anything. Like nobody, it wasn't like, and I mean on either side. Like one side wasn't
going to tell Arnold, right?
What's that?
Who was going to tell Arnold?
Right. Well, who's gonna tell Tommy? He's like, hey man, just chill.
But yeah, I still love this movie. Like I said, I watched it a few months ago with Amber. She had never seen it, and it's just a great movie about Jim Belushi. He gets a job as a principal in an inner city school, and tries to turn things around. And I mean, this school is like we're talking worst of the worst.
Yeah, there's a few movies that are along this line. I love this movie as well. Stand By Me, another good one.
Yeah.
What's the one with Edward James Olmos, where he's the teacher? I don't know if he's a teacher or he's the principal. But that one too, it was so heavy. But there's so many great ones from that era that were all about the tough schools. And then they tried to recapture that in the 90s the 90s with Michelle Pfeiffer as the tough ex-Marine who's now a teacher.
Right.
You got Gangsta Paradise out of that movie, though.
Yeah, I'm looking through his list here. Sure.
Somebody will find it for us. That's all right. You can go on with yours.
Yeah, moving on. Early 90s, 1992, gave us Brendan Fraser in a movie called School Ties, which is a great movie.
Look at this cast.
This one had Matt Damon, Chris O'Donnell, Ben Affleck, Cole Hauser, Anthony Rapp, and you may see a few of those actors in my next pick as well.
Yeah. Well, because those guys all seemed to work together at that point. Like a lot of them did, at least. And you know what was the connector for all of them? Ben Affleck. It's always Ben Affleck is the connector for people. As much as people want to shit on this guy, I get the feeling that he's the network guy amongst.
So, are
everyone.
you saying we need to change 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon to 6 Degrees of Ben Affleck?
No, because he hasn't been in as many movies. But if we were talking about getting people roles, then yes, yes, I am. He's Jimmy Fallon.
So yeah, staying with Ben Affleck.
Stand and deliver. Thank you, Will. Stand and deliver. Thank you very much. Sorry, that was going to kill me.
That's all right. Yeah, staying with Affleck, Anthony Rapp, and Cole Hauser, along with Matthew McConaughey, Joey Lauren Adams, Rory Cochrane, Mila Jovovich. This movie, it took place in the 70s, but this was our coming of age movie. We were in high school when this movie came out.
And let's be real, in the 90s, so right now, it's really cool for this generation and all generations to kind of celebrate the 90s, like our era, like how old we would have been in Dazed and Confused.
Right.
That's what we were with the 70s. Like we looked at the end of the 60s and a lot of the 70s as that, oh my God, can you imagine we lived in when there were bell bottoms, Woodstock, burning the bra, fucking fuck Vietnam. Like that's the stuff we looked up to. And yeah, man, Dazed and Confused, like you said, that was our anthology. That was our coming of age movie, and so many great actors in that movie. Actors, directors. Matthew McConaughey was nothing before that movie.
Yeah.
Like at least Affleck did a couple.
Aerosmith tickets, man, top priority of the summer.
All right.
And at the time, that was a priority for me in the summer. I mean, I've seen Aerosmith 14, 15 times.
Yeah. My priority was a little more aligned with Randall Pink Floyd. Yeah, well, sports and partying basically was a lot of our teen years, our senior years.
That was like,
yeah, man. Between football, basketball, and baseball, it didn't seem to stop. And then we had bush parties. Do kids have bush parties anymore? Like I don't think they do here in Niagara anymore. But like that was
everything's been fenced off and roped off and
really. Like we said,
I know I am now the guy that puts the fences up. So I have become that person I used to hate. I'd be riding my bike along my favorite show. I'd be like,
sellout. You're a sellout. Ben Affleck is the second best Batman, and I didn't mind the Daredevil movie either. Here's the thing. I didn't mind Daredevil either. I didn't think it was great, but it was way better than Elektra. I do wonder who your favorite Batman is. I'm going to assume it is either Christian Bale or Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I was gonna go Keaton.
Yeah. I don't want to shit on Ben Affleck. He'd be great in Blumhouse. Listen,
As long as they killed him, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But have you seen Argo? He's a fucking great actor. Have you seen Gone Girl? He's a great actor. Have you seen everything he's in, aside from maybe Reindeer Games?
Hey,
I know, I like Reindeer Games.
I love
too.
Reindeer Games.
Like Chasing Amy. You know what's bad?
I just watched The Town again not that long ago.
How fucking great is that movie? Wrote and directed that movie. Like the guy is. I'm sorry. I've been saying this for a while. When I look at Good Will Hunting and I look at all the accolades everyone threw on Matt Damon for the movie, I feel like he didn't do the heavy lifting. Like, because if you look at both of their careers afterwards, who's done more successful writing, directing, and producing? It's all been Affleck. Like, I mean, The Town, Argo.
I've actually really been liking a lot of Matt Damon's choices lately. He's had a lot of really good movies the last few years.
Well, he even said that he's gone conservative, but not that he's gone conservative. But in this last movie that he did, he was like, I was completely wrong because he plays an oil rigger, I think. Right. He's like, these conservative oil riggers aren't the monsters I thought they were. But who blanket statements anything like that?
Stillwater.
Yeah, Stillwater.
I watched it. Yeah, it was a great movie. Yeah,
he's a great actor.
Love
you did.
He played an absolutely great role.
What did you think of The Glass Coffin?
Glass Coffin? I don't know that one.
Is that a movie or is that somebody kept sending me a joke, a pun that was a glass coffin, and I can't remember what the punchline was.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's a bush party? A bush party. So where we're from, we have a lot of forest. Well, at least we used to. We used to have a lot of forest area around us. And when we were younger and we wanted to drink and not get busted by our parents, we'd have these big parties out in the bush.
Yeah, we walk. Like it says. We walk out a kilometer or so, and
sometimes not even St. George Park. It was right beside houses. Mosquito Park
was definitely close.
Mosquito Park was pretty far, but we had Snake Alley. Was that what that was called? Remember down by off of Broadway, between Broadway. Oh, okay. Yeah, those bushes between Broadway and
where the train tracks are.
Terrace, and man, there used to be snakes out there all the time. We used to play war out there too. So that's what a bush party was here. Tom says Conroy, Affleck, and Keaton. Yeah, man. Conroy, definitely number one. It's hard to say that because he's only a voice actor. But anytime I read a Batman comic book, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice. I don't hear Affleck's. I don't hear Bale's. I hear fucking Kevin Conroy's. Clerks, great movie. Yeah. Chasing Amy is amazing. Ben has rank. Yeah, Chasing Amy is one of the most underrated Kevin Smith movies out there. Russell, the bush parties we had cleared the forest away for all the housing up near Memorial Park. East Ellen epic parties. Yeah, man. Camp, beer, and the dykes. Yeah, basically. They call them keggers in Delaware. Well, yeah. Same thing. Yeah, basically.
Dazed and Confused. That's what that was. It was a kegger, right?
It was a kegger. Kegger at the Moon Tower. We had them all over town. Michael Keaton is the best Batman. My order in best to worst live action: Keaton, Affleck, West, Val Kilmer, Bale, Clooney, and then I guess Kirk Allen. Yeah, I don't hate that list at all. I'm down with that. I love Ben Affleck's Batman, but that's mostly just bias because I was campaigning for him to be Batman way before he even got cast. So, for me, it's hard to separate the two there, but I think he's a great actor. So, we'd play war games in the bush. Yeah, we did that too. Later, it was just getting pissed and hide from your parents. That's exactly how it evolved for us as well. We would play war, which was basically we tackled each other. It was the stupidest game in the world. I still don't even really understand the objective of it when we played.
We used to go so far as to tie people up and
Dude, I so remember that too. Right by, remember that guy who made Tokerstown?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's.
And skipping rope, the skipping ropes back then, that shit was hard to. When you tie a good knot in that, you are not getting out of that, man.
No, not without a knife or using your teeth and messing your teeth up bad. I'm sorry. So that was your list. That was your last one. Just to recap real quickly here, and this was from 5 to 1, right?
Right.
Number 5, we had Heather. Sorry about the picture there, folks. Number 4 was Superbad. Number 3 was The Principal. Number 2 was School Ties. And number 1, all right, Dazed and Confused. Great list, man. Hard one to top, honestly. It's the stupidest game. It was awesome, and it's universally enjoyed. You want to know what was a stupid game that we played as a kid that we fucking loved? I don't know what you guys called it wherever you are in the world, or even if you played it there in the world. Steve already knows. I can see the look on his face. We played this game called Red Ass. So we would take usually a tennis ball. If we didn't have one, we would use an Indian rubber ball or whatever we had. If it was an Indian rubber ball, it fucking sucked. And there'd be like 8 of us that would line up, and we'd take this ball, and you have to bounce it off the ground and then off the wall.
Right.
And if someone caught it, you would go up against the wall, and everyone would get a chance throwing the ball at you. But if that person dropped it, they went up against the wall, and everyone in line got a turn throwing that ball at your ass. That got banned real quick. Like, that got banned quicker than Red Rover. There was some of us in North Welland that played Running Man War, but we used BB guns and stuff. Yeah, we didn't hang out with you North Wellanders because you guys were rich, for one.
We used
real guns. No, I'm kidding.
I remember me, Mike, and Ventino, and Doles and Moose. We used to take our pellet guns out all the time, and we would, when the train would slow down at Lincoln Street Plaza there, we would actually hop on the train and ride it all the way to the train yard in Port Colborne, and then spend the day walking home from Port Colborne with our pellet guns.
Is that by where that fire was started, by that Petro-Canada?
I think so. Yeah, that was weird.
What's up, Sully? Sully's on his walk to Ottawa right now. He's walking in support of child abuse through the church systems. He's holding all the diocese in check. I saw him post something. I think he had the cops called on him today in Hamilton, but he's walking from Welland to Ottawa. I got to interview him. Once he gets there, we might meet him there if I have the time or the day off. And then, you'll get to see that video of his whole kind of journey from start to finish. So, keep it up, buddy. Good to see you.
All right, go Sully.
And surely the kids on here love High School Musical. Not my cup of tea, but I'll admit their version of Don't Stop Believing was pretty good. My kids were that age, so I went through.
When I asked my daughter, who just turned 19, what her favorite school movies were, being the topic today, her first, she's like, I said, let me guess, High School Musical. She's like, yeah. She's like, just because it was, for my time. She goes, but
that makes sense.
She is an 80s kid at heart. Like, she absolutely loves The Breakfast Club. It's one of her all-time favorite movies. So,
well, and you didn't pick it, so she hates you now.
Right.
All right, let's get into my top 5 here real quick if we can. We'll get to the rest of the comments after that. So number 5 on my list, I went with a college movie. It's a sports movie. There were so many sports college movies I wanted to take. Because
that's what I didn't want my list to become a football list.
Exactly. Right. But I could not leave this one.
Well, that's not true. There's football and family in School Ties, so that's not completely true.
Well, I couldn't leave this mainly football movie off the list because I don't care if you like football or not. If you watch this movie, you cried just like Steve and I did. And that, of course, is Sean Astin in Rudy. I mean, the true life story of Daniel Rudiger, who was a walk-on player at Notre Dame. His entire dream since he was a little kid was to play for Notre Dame. And physically he's just not that guy. but he worked and worked, and then he couldn't make the team even as a walk-on. So what did he do? He ended up working for the team, until they gave him a spot, and he earned the respect of all the players. And it gets to the same spot where every man in the world, I don't care who the fuck you are, man, like whether you like football or not, you see the scene where everybody goes into the coach's office and puts their jersey down on the desk and says, "Let Rudy take my spot," every single time. Every man gets choked up. I don't care. Clint Eastwood watches that movie and cries. I'm not joking.
I remember my kid, my son, when he was very young, asking me, I was watching this movie on the couch, and he said, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "No." And I'm trying to.
Yes.
And Danielle says, "Yes, he is. He always cries when he watches this movie."
It's horrible. Hey, Nate, what's going on, brother? Nathan, who's named goats after both myself and the Wellandwingnut. I hope both the goats are doing well, buddy, and I hope you're doing well even more so. Sully says, "You hit Mississauga today. Cops love us." Says Rocky Horror Picture Show. Not a school movie, but maybe we said something it's so hard when we're not going at the same time. Surely the kids on here. Oh yeah, we did that. We modified tag. Where did that go? Kurt Jr. says we modified tag. We used a ball to tag each other. That thing could hurt, no doubt. Remember the tight. Oh my God! Stop it! Yeah, another great one, buddy. Another great one, but another one that makes you cry. Can this movie to Friday nights during college football season? Yeah, man. Another one. Friday Night Lights is a great one. Yeah. Tearjerker. Yeah, dude. A lot of tears. Like, for real. What's up, James? How you doing, buddy? Just a reminder, James, another co-founder of the Welland Zombie Walk. This year, still a go?
We are still planning for this year with the new measures that are going to be in place. We don't think that there has been anything said that affects outdoor events.
Sweet.
So
good.
we think we're good, but we're definitely going to make sure we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed before we make an official announcement. So
nice. I think you're right because it's outdoor. I think you guys should be good. You shouldn't have to worry about the passports and shit. We won't get into any of that, but that's what, October 17th?
October 17th this year, yes. Sunday night at 6 o'clock.
Day after my birthday, bitches. Let me know if these are coming through. I will open Facebook. No, we can see you good, Nate. Sorry, it was just we're a little behind on everything. Mitchell says the speech from Rudy is absolute fire. Yeah, man, I fucking agree. The Aaron Sorkin moment in the newsroom when they recreate this moment for Neil. Dude, it's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, Steve has no idea what we're talking about, but the newsroom, Will McAvoy. I'm doing right now what Will McAvoy is doing, where they're trying to explain the moment in Rudy, where everyone comes and puts the jersey down. They're sitting in a newsroom, like in just discussing what stories they're going to talk about, and that comes up. But yeah, it's a great moment. Aaron Sorkin's one of the best writers in the world for my money. The goats are semi-TikTok famous now. Wingnut got over 600 views the other day. Well, what about Zeus, yo? Rock and Roll High School. Rock and Roll High School. Crowdy Kid, poor Daniel. Another one. I just tuned in from South Africa. What's on the forum? Hey, Valentino. Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in. We are talking about favorite school-based movies of all time. Steve did his list. I'm just doing mine right now. Welcome to the show. Hope you enjoy it. So let me get back into my list there. I said my first one, right, which was Rudy. Number 4 on my list, I just stick with Sean Astin. I don't know if you remember this movie or not.
Another great movie.
This is one of my all-time favorites.
Great movie.
This still holds up.
Yeah, I watched it probably I'm going to say I watched this about 2 or 3 years ago.
Same. Sean Astin, Will Wheaton, the great prep story, Toy Soldiers. Folks, if you've never seen this movie, do yourself a favor. Go check this one out. A story about a boarding school for mostly for rich kids that are troubled kids. And Sean Astin is the most troubled of them all, except for he's not a rich kid. I forget why he's actually there. Oh, because he got kicked out of every single boarding school. And this is the only one left was the rich school one for him. Okay, so that part's maybe a little unbelievable. But one of the students, Will Wheaton, his father is a big mafia boss, and basically terrorists go in there to try to kidnap him so they can blackmail the dad. And yeah, you have to watch this movie. It is so criminally underrated. Sean Astin, really, people think of him as a goofy actor. He is so great. You want to talk a great movie? There was a movie they made us watch. There's a movie they showed to us in school. I can't remember if it was elementary or high school, but it was a movie called Harrison Bergeron. I believe it was a Ray Bradbury story about, it's set in the future where everybody, this is going to set everybody off that's conspiracy theorists, but everybody in the world wore bands over their head to regulate so nobody could be smarter than anybody else. Everyone was just the same level of basically stupid, because they made everyone stupid basically, but it didn't work on certain people, and Harrison Bergeron was one of them. That was Sean Astin. So they invite him to live in the super elite society, and then he rebels against. Oh my God. Just even saying it right now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but those of you that are or on the fence, go watch that fucking movie, because it'll blow your mind. Have you ever heard of that one?
Further down the rabbit hole.
Exactly. Harrison Bergeron. Good movie, though. Greece. I got chills. They're multiplying. I went to a boarding school. Did that happen, Valentino? Your dad's not mafia, is he? No, I'm just kidding. Don't tell me. Toy Soldiers is amazing. If they remade it, would have to be Blum. Shut the fuck up. How did I not see that coming? Zeus Fleming. I have the book by Bradbury with that story. Yeah, man. That's, you know what? That's where I first read that story, because I think we read that in elementary school. I don't know if they still do this in elementary school or not, but we read a lot of books. Like, we had to read a lot of books we stopped reading books like in grade 9, I feel. Like, once we only had English class, like once or whatever, we read way less books than we did when we had, like, you know, just normal grade 1 to grade 8. But yeah, we read that. We read Flies, Piglet.
Oh, Lord of the
Flies. Thank you. Yeah. We read that. We read The Outsiders. So many books. Anna Green Gables. Valentino says Breakfast Club. You'll have to wait and see, buddy. Sean Astin doing asthma and Toy Soldiers. What a guy. Right? But that was No, who was it that was actually the asthmatic, though? He just pretended he had asthma at the one point. I always liked Taps. I was so young when Taps came out. I saw it at the drive-in, the Welland Niagara Falls drive-in, and we saw it with Back to the Future, I believe. And I remember Back to the Future, and I remember that I kind of fell asleep during Taps. I just remember Taps being played on the trumpet. But that was do you remember when we were kids, one night at the drive-in, everyone saying that they saw a fucking flying saucer?
I don't.
That was that night. Like my uncle, like I was sleeping and my Uncle George had woken me up because I was there with my cousins and stuff. And yeah, I remember him waking us up. I was like, oh my God. I never saw it. So mine are more in the drama area. Freedom Writers, Dead Poets Society. Dude, we were just talking about that beforehand. That almost made my list. Like, this list would change every day. I promise you. Yes and no, he isn't. Does Basketball Diaries count as a school movie? Yes, it does. And oh my God, what a fucking
good movie.
That's my favorite Mark Wahlberg movie. I am not even lying. The Outsiders was written by an Oklahoman. We have Southeast Hinton Museum. Oh, S.E. Hinton. I'm like,
so to tell you a story here about Ralph Macchio. He was at Comic-Con a few years back, and my daughter's the biggest Outsiders fan. Like, she has the book. She loves the movie.
Stay gold.
And she was in karate at the time, so we were watching the Karate Kid movies. and the TV show was just coming out. And she walked up to his table and had her Outsiders book and said, I'd love you to read autograph this book. And he's like, yeah. He's like, no problem. So he autographed it. Stay golden. And I just took pictures with him and her and him and us. And yeah, like she paid for the autograph and that was it. And he was just, they were talking about the Outsiders the whole time. So, celebrities love that one. When a guy who is synonymous with Karate Kid and someone is just gushing over the Outsiders, he absolutely loved it. And it was just, he was the absolute nicest guy.
I always find anytime we interview big actors, when the more obscure stuff we talk about from their resume, the more they enjoy it, the more they like it.
And unless you're George Wendt, but we love you, George.
Hey, can you tell the story real quickly about Andrew and give me like a 2-minute second?
Andrew Barnardski?
Yes, that's the guy.
Okay, so Andrew Barnardski, he was one of the most recent leather faces in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. He was also in a movie called The Program where he played Latimer, one of the guys that was juicing on the football team. Anyways, he was at Comic-Con. It was the Saturday we saw him, and then Sunday we saw him, and he had this huge swollen hand. I mean, the guy was already a monster, but his hand was swollen right up. And we heard, allegedly, he was at a bar that night and may have gotten into it with somebody, and his hand was swollen up. Anyways, we got to talking to him outside, smoking a joint with him, and he was telling us, he had a condition. I don't remember if he said it was gout or whatever it was, but he said it was some kind of condition. He was on meds for it, and continued to tell us a bunch of Hollywood insider stories that that we've never really repeated online.
And do you still have the audio from it?
So I was recording our conversation with our phone just for shits, just for us, really, because the stuff he was telling us was pretty juicy. Like TMZ probably would have been like, yeah, we'll pay you for that.
We should give them them.
Because he did have some controversy around that same time about he had his place busted for an alleged puppy mill, or
right? Which,
yeah,
I mean, kind of fuck that guy, right?
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Anytime we're both big supporters of animals and animal lovers, and seeing any shit like that, I'm sorry. It's like us, like we said with love Deshaun Watson, then we find out there's like 21, reports against him. We're like, fuck that guy.
I've been a Bengals fan since about '88, I'm gonna say, and my two all-time favorite players have not been Bengals. My favorite player all time, Barry Sanders.
Mine too.
My second all time favorite player was Michael Vick until that piece of shit fucking.
Really? Yeah, he was never my favorite, but I'm not saying that afterwards. I just mean he was just. I thought he was good. I
absolutely loved watching him play.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Or not even the thing. Here's a question when it comes to Vic, and I'll get back to my list. And yes, Porky's counts. Yes, Canadian classic. Canadian classic.
Until, and I've told this story before, until Get Out was made, which was a Canadian-made movie, Porky's was still the all-time box office movie for Canadian movies.
Yeah, which is awesome. I forget where we're going with that. Anyways. Let's move on with the list then. So that was Toy Soldier. So I had back-to-back Sean Astin start us off. Number 3. Not sure if you remember this movie or if you've ever watched this movie. This was a movie that got worn out on my VCR. Maybe even my Betamax. No, my VCR.
That was Bloodsport for me. I had to buy a second copy.
Well, I had a few of those. I had Eddie Murphy Raw and Die Hard got just burnt right out. But a close third to those was Jeremy Piven's PCU. I had never, at that point in my life, heard of George Clinton and the P-Funk. And after that, I became a huge fan. It was so funny because you know when you're a kid and you find out like about a famous band, but an obscure famous band, and then you make like you knew about them your entire life. I was that kid. I was like, "Wait, you don't know the P-Funk? Come on, man!"
So
Great
to
movie,
relate
great cast.
to relate
John
George Clinton
Favreau,
to people
sorry.
today, everybody knows the Snoop Dogg, Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Bow Wow. That
So
was cool.
that underlay, that track was actually George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars' biggest hit was a song called Atomic Dog.
Yeah. But that's almost every hip hop song comes from a very popular beat from way back in the day,
Yeah.
But now the more modern ones are going to be from our day, like they're mixing it with fucking Pearl Jam.
Please don't.
Do it. Let's see. Goonies, best high school movie ever. I think that covered high school and grade school. Because
Yeah.
I feel like the younger ones, like another Sean Astin movie. Man, Sean Astin was a big part of our youth.
Yeah, he was.
Kurt says the program. Oh my God, Andrew Barnardski.
Andrew Barnardski, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a fairly accurate depiction of college football programs. Hopefully, not so much anymore. Can we hear it? Can we hear what? Let me know what you're talking about. Sorry, because we're a little bit behind you. You said that about 3 minutes ago. I still watch this. Still waiting for Mothership. Flashlight. I'm gonna go with classic to me, Clueless, and a modern film, Love, Simon. I haven't seen Love, Simon. I did like Clueless though. I'm not gonna lie. I won't be that guy.
Yeah,
I watched that one a lot when I was younger. I thought it was funny as shit. That's where I got introduced to Paul Rudd.
Right.
Barry Sanders is the GOAT. He went to Oklahoma State, where I went to school. I've met him several times. He is so nice. Yeah, what I loved about him, never spiked the ball once in his entire career. And then he could have instead of re-signing with Detroit and knowing that he wasn't going to win a title ever with them, but still being so loyal to them and knowing he could go sign anywhere and get a title or at least compete for one, he's like, nah, man, I'm just going to retire. And he retired young. Like he was like early 30s.
Yeah, and he would have broken the record at the time. I mean, Evan Smith may have broken his record, but I've always said you put Barry Sanders on those same Dallas Cowboy teams, and he decimates records.
Decimates every single. Listen, don't even get me started on the Cowboys. You know how long I've been a Vikings fan.
That is the greatest offensive line in probably football history.
And they can thank the Minnesota Vikings for like 60 to 70% of that, because that was a lot of that off of the Herschel Walker trade. 5 first-round draft picks for Herschel Walker. I'm okay. I'm all right. Just had a flashback. Sorry I'm delayed, so my comments are probably so late. No, it's okay, buddy. That's just the way it goes on our end, too. It delays a little bit. Barry was 30 when he retired. Yeah, man, which is insane. Especially you look at a guy like Tom Brady now.
Yeah.
Which quarterback's a lot different, but you still get hit every play.
And we've seen that evolution that running backs don't have the careers that they had when we were growing up, man.
But even that back then, though, I remember growing up, like in high school. I remember Mr. D and them always telling us, like, pay attention to the NFL. Running backs, their average lifespan is like 3 years in the NFL, unless they're elite, and then it's like maybe
unless
10.
you're one of those top guys, yeah,
and then it's 10 if you're lucky. So PCU, that was my number 3. Great cast. John Favreau. We had Jeremy Piven in this. And I mean, the protest, all that other stuff. Like, I mean, this movie was a lot of fun. Reminded me a lot of my number 2 movie on my list. And this one was just a great one. We already knew him, or at least I did, from a couple TV shows. I think he was it A Guy, a Girl in a Pizza Shop? And then the world got to know one Ryan Reynolds in National Lampoon's Van Wilder. Van Wilder, loosely based I shouldn't even say loosely.
No, not really. Yeah.
Based. Strongly based on stand-up comedian Bert Kreischer, who said that movie is about him, and no one's ever disputed it.
Yeah, I listened to Bert Kreischer's audiobook.
Oh, his audiobook.
Yeah, I listened to his audiobook, and some of the stories that he told about, like, stuff that wasn't in the Van Wilder movie, like, just, oh my God, like, he was that guy. Wow.
Yeah. You kind of bow down?
What's that?
You bow down to this guy?
He's definitely a legend, man, for sure.
Right on.
And I love his stand-up comedy, so I listen to his podcast as well.
I haven't listened to his stand-up yet. I don't know. I just can't.
So have you seen his most famous bit is probably the story of the machine. And that's a story about when he was in university. He went to Florida State.
Is that where he breaks his arm, or is that the other guy that he hangs out with?
No. Yeah, so he ends up taking a Russian 1 on accident, I think it is. And he said he was in the class like 3 weeks before he realized it was even Russian. And when he went to drop the class, the teacher said to him, like, I need this many students to be able to keep this class going. So she's like, sit there and, I'll pass you, right? And this guy spent like 7 years or 8 years at Florida State. And so then he ended up taking Russian 2, and there was a trip to Russia. And so he took this trip to Russia, and that's where the story of the machine ends up coming up. They were basically paying the mafia at the time. This is like 80s still. So the school had to pay the mafia to escort these students around Moscow, and fucking they went back to the hotels with them and kept them safe. And Bert's like, these guys are going to be my best friends, right? And gets a couple bottles of vodka, and he knew like one thing to let's party or something like that. And then he practiced, and he's pretty sure he ended up saying like, "Do you want to pet my cat?" or something like that. But these guys ended up partying with him, and he was drinking. They ended up like robbing people, and it was an absolute crazy story.
So he hung out with the Russian mob, is basically what you're telling me.
And he goes, and they end up on this train, and they're robbing the train car. And the guy's like, grab the cash or grab this, grab that. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, that's when I realized I knew what he was saying. He goes, and I'm learning Russian my way, not through like books and texts. He goes, by joining the fucking mafia.
See, and Kuchi says you have to watch his stand-up. He's my favorite right now.
He's hilarious.
He's awesome.
I think I'm doing the reverse of like what our kids do to us. Like, because I know that it's one of my kids' favorites, so maybe subconsciously I'm like, I can't watch it because it's for my kid, but he's like our age and telling me.
Absolutely. Like I said, I listen to his podcast. I love his stand-up.
Yeah, so does Logan. Loves him. Like, what is it? 2 Bears or something like that?
2 Bears, 1 Cave, yeah.
Yeah, and what's the other guy's name?
He's
the one that broke his arm. Right?
Who's also awesome. Hilarious.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah. They just need to keep their shirts on. Luke says, here's one that I didn't put on my list. My number 1's coming up. This is a great one. The original, at least. Red Dawn, Wolverine.
You know what? I didn't mind the second one, but I'm not going to even try and hold it up against the first one.
Yeah, I just felt that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
As its own movie, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't hate it. It was like, do we need it? But
yeah,
I've recently.
Right, it's one of those movies nobody asked for.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get to that mindset lately, and I feel like I keep harping on this lately over the last few weeks.
Yeah,
if I don't like a movie, I'm not gonna say like unless someone asks me what my opinion is, I'll be like, yeah, I didn't like that. For me, my personal opinion is I don't like it, but I'm not gonna ever be like, why are they making that movie? Because they made it because this person likes it. So I will watch it. No big deal, right? So
that's it.
Just need to get that way with everything else in life. Easier said than done. And my last movie, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't put this on the list. And never mind, put it on the list. Put it number 1 on the list. I mean, I've seen this movie a million times, plus 1. This was a movie we studied at school for script writing, for one of the best scripts and screenplays ever. You saw Steve put up the sign there, put up the fist, and of course, talking about The Breakfast Club. What a great movie. Good cast here. they've all kind of had varied careers after that to varied success. Mess with the bull, get the horns. I was actually going to take that clip and upload it here, but we won't because I don't want us to get thrown off for something like that. But yeah, I mean, how could you not go with that as the number one? We talked about it before the show started. My kid likes this movie. I don't know a generation that doesn't like this movie, which is actually kind of weird because it is pretty offensive in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
What's that?
Breakfast Club. But, I mean, it's just one of those ones that everyone loves. It was Lakeshore Catholic High School, where my son went to high school, graduated from a couple of years ago. They had the play there. They did the play, The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that just goes to show you the impact.
Right? So, great movie, and I think it's one of those ones that everybody thinks of immediately when you think of high school or school movies.
And that's, like I said, that's the movie this week that I left off knowing you were going to pick it.
Nice. Good call. Good call. Don't say your number one is Twilight. No, it just barely missed my list. Yoo-hoo. I'll make you famous. Oh, my God. Young Guns Part 2. Emilio. Yoo-hoo. Make you famous. That was a great movie. Great line. Okay, serious moment. PSA. If you're interested in a non-glamorized look at the American education system, check out the documentaries Waiting for Superman and Our Spirits Don't Speak English. I've heard of Waiting for Superman, haven't heard of the other, though. We'll check it out. That's impossible, sir. It's in Johnson's shorts. It's a quote from what movie? That's impossible, sir. It's in Johnson's shorts. No, it's not. I remember that line, and I can't think of where it's from. So you're going to have to tell us after. Oh, yes, I do. It's from The Breakfast Club. He's talking. Johnson was the nerdy kid. He's like, doesn't it smell like weed in here? Oh, of course. We've got weed. It's in Johnson's shorts. And it really was in his underwear, remember?
That's right.
Anthony Michael Hall. Good call. Good call. Where is To Sir with Love? I'm Gen X, not a boomer. So To Sir with Love is on my grandfather's list of best school movies.
Along
It's
with
also the only
Charlie
one on there.
Chaplin.
Yeah, Charlie. I'm like, I don't know if there was any other school movies before then. There wasn't very many.
These two just go to college.
Breakfast Club. Exactly. That was my number one, boys. I'm Gen X. Well, stop acting like boomer. No, I'm kidding. Just totally kidding. All right, so yeah,
we love you, Luke. We love Luke as much as we love Blumhouse.
Yes, man. We love you more than we love Blumhouse. We love you, dude, as much as we love. And we love Clanny.
We love Clanny.
We love Clanny. Clanny's our
we're actually trying to work out a deal right now with the Chinese government to get possession of Clanny. We're sending our Canadian equivalent of Dennis Rodman. We're sending over Mike Schmreck. So
you leave that Niagara region legend alone. He has two NBA championships. And not only does he have two NBA championships, he has two NBA championships with Magic motherfucking Johnson and Michael motherfucking Jordan. I'm just saying. I don't care if he never saw the court once. Dude's got two. Dos. Mike Smerick in the house. Legend. Eastdale legend. Eastdale. Clanny. At least Nathan spells it right. It's got to be with a K.
Right.
Kurt Jr. says, Lean on Me, one of my few non-sports related school movies. So good. Like, it almost made my list. Like I said, I could do my list right now again, and it'll be almost completely different. Like, I would keep Breakfast Club at number one, no matter what, because it has to be there. Then it's just what comes underneath that. You have a Dennis Rodman? Well, Mike Schmerk is definitely not a Dennis Rodman.
No, he's not.
Mike Schmerk, that's right, East Aller Ridge. I've got new Clanny memes. I'll send them next week. Can't wait, dude. Can't wait. If you're ever sending us memes or pictures that you want us to put up on the show, make sure that they're by the dimensions 1280 by 720. If not, you're gonna make me have extra work. Really, then I have to like go and edit that shit, and I'm really last minute, and I've got a million other things that I'm doing. But appreciate it, love it. So before we move on, we're about to do Steve's 5-second movie review like we do every week. This week, Steve's doing the BET original Karen, starring Taryn. I don't know her last name, but just know
Karen from Orange is the New Black.
Right. So Taryn is the Orange is the New Black as Karen. But before we do that, we do want to take a second to give a shout out to our sponsor. And that, of course, is DocNet. You'll see it right over Steve's shoulder right there, just above the RatG TV. DocNet, your home. Oh, wrong shoulder. Listen, we all love and depend on our internet. We need it. But we don't need those high prices that we're paying. Like if you're going to one of the big name companies, I'm not going to name them, you know who they are. But if you're in Canada, you know how much you're paying for internet. If you want to save some money and not sacrifice any of the signal, then give DocNet a shot. Go over to docnet.ca, give Tony a call, let him know what you're looking for, and he can help anyone out in Canada from East Coast to West Coast. How fast is it? I don't know. Somebody asked us the other day what the speeds are. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy. I don't know. Ask Tony. All I know is we're streaming a show right here, watching TV. Like I don't have Night Court on for once. I actually have Cheers on in the background right now. My kid's playing video games. I say this every week, and we're streaming to you without any problems. And I'm in another room off of a Wi-Fi router, and we're still getting a good signal. So that's saying a lot about the internet. Never mind the router, who we're not giving a shout out to. But if you want that, give DocNet a call. DocNet.ca, connecting your world to your home. That's it. That's what we do. It's a good shout out. And no, they don't service you in Great Britain. Sorry. Oh, damn. They're like 1281 by 782. Well, that'll work. Damn it, I thought it was Darknet. No wonder I get 512. And you're in a different country. If it's not .co, you're out of luck.
Well, don't worry. Once we get that first big balloon payment from Spotify, we'll run a cable across the Atlantic, and we'll hook you up, Luke.
We'll hook you up. We're also looking for new agents as well. Whoever wants to hook us up and get us on somewhere, we'll take it. So let us move forward. Steve, you are reviewing what movie this week?
Karen, the BET original.
So let's talk about Karen a little bit before you get into your review here. This Karen movie, and I want you to tell me this after your review, but my initial kind of look from the outside for not seeing this movie, from what I read about it, this is a very agenda-driven movie. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Amber. And Amber's not saying that because she's a Karen. She's an Amber, which is a whole other beast.
I was shocked by this person. Like, this is a real thing.
Well, I know. Well, we've all seen the
Amber
videos.
just found out what a Karen was.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Are you telling me Amber's woke now? Is Amber woke finally?
Well, Brian. I'm like, this is...
Oh my God, that's a Karen? I'm woke.
Yeah, it's fucking sad.
All right. That's such an inside joke between the three of us. But like the fourth week we've mentioned it, so now it's between all of us. So many fucking Karens everywhere. Do we need a bloody movie? Well, yeah, we need a movie because without the movie, we wouldn't get to have, Steve's 5-second 5 second movie review
I'm not being distracted.
by Steve. He wasn't ready. I need that clip on standby of Kevin Hart. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. All right, buddy. So you're doing the BET original movie, Karen. For those of you that are new here, Steve gets 5 seconds. I put them on the board, and he will give you his review of the movie in said 5 seconds. Sir, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. 5 seconds are on the board. You may begin.
They could have called this movie Orange versus the New Black. And just like the real Karens of the world, it was embarrassing.
So it was a really good movie?
It wasn't great. They definitely took Karen to the extreme. Like I said, this wasn't about any one individual Karen. They kind of took a few Karens and, and then.
Karen Monster.
But yeah, very agenda driven, like you said. It was focused on police corruption, and but you know what? The one thing I was happy to see was when the Karen character was going to neighbors, or because it was one of these neighborhoods with a homeowners association, and as stories started to immerse of their interactions. The neighbors didn't feel for Karen and weren't on her side. So I was happy to see that part of it, and trying to ostracize her as the piece of shit she was.
And she was, right?
Yeah.
Steve, I love the review, but I'd be so pissed watching a Karen.
Yeah, like I said, it starts light. They move in, a young black family moves into a very nice neighborhood, and she wastes no time introducing herself, and with wonders of how they can afford such a nice house in this neighborhood. So Luke, your assessment is correct. You would probably get very angry watching this movie.
And then you're like, oh, I want to make like this isn't real, like they're exaggerating. And then we seen like that lawyer couple that was out front when the protesters were going past their house to another house. I mean, yeah, we won't get into any of that. But so, what would you give this movie? What's your overall rating of Karen?
I'd probably give this movie a 2 out of 5.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty bad. So the acting was that bad too, or?
Yeah, I mean, BET doesn't have the biggest budget, so I mean,
right, of course.
The acting wasn't. I didn't think the issue. I think it was more of a script issue. A little bit on the production value side as well. But just the story was just so extreme and so over the top by the end of it. So
yeah, that's kind of shitty.
I think if they went for less of the thriller at the end and have it more have real life consequences.
Kurt, I'm not trying to watch
the way they did end it. And spoiler in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Her brother's a cop, and he starts to help her orchestrate these attacks against these people, planting evidence and pullovers against them and whatnot. And the movie ends with both of them being shot and killed. So,
damn. All right, peace out. Enjoy the game, Nate. And that sounds not fun.
No,
I mean, but you said it. It's a BET movie. Nothing against BET. They just don't have the budget. If I'm watching an NBC movie, they have a bigger budget than BET, and they're still not going to have big name. I'm going to see fucking the actors from Wings. Yes, the show from the 90s. Like that's what we expect. No big deal. All right. Well, hey man, that gets us halfway through the show, but we got a new segment that we brought on a few weeks ago. Now I either do this. I was today 8 years old when I figured this out, or I do the TikToker of the week. And this week I chose someone who's in the news and is going to be in our pop culture news a little bit later, but I've been following him on TikTok since he was announced as this new role that he's been playing. But for those of you at home, it is, I believe he's from Toronto. I know he's Canadian, but Toronto, I believe Toronto's own, Simu Liu.
Bro, I gotta ask, how do I say your name right? Just Simu is totally fine. No, I want to say it authentic. It's actually really hard if you didn't grow up around Chinese tones, so... Bro, trust me. It's just that I've done this before and it... Get mad! Yeah, fine. It's, Liu Simu. Liu Simu? No, Liu Simu. That's what I said. No, it's not. Liu Simu. No. You got it. Great job. Great job.
And that, of course, is Kim Convenience own Simu Liu, who is now, as I just butchered his name, who is now playing Shang-Chi in Marvel's Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings, which I just watched. Good movie. And I mean, what a great addition to the Marvel universe. I'm happy for, Asian Americans, Asians around the world, that they have an Asian leading Marvel movie star. I'm going to be a little selfish here and say I'm really proud that we have a Canadian as one of the leads in a Marvel movie now. I know we have Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, but we haven't seen him as Marvel's Deadpool yet. So this is awesome. And not only that, I've been following Simu for a while now, and he is one of the most humble guys on TikTok and on Instagram. And he legit just tweeted out to Marvel saying, "Hey, yo, I hear you don't have a Shang-Chi yet," or something along those lines, and they hired him. Like, I mean, how great is that? And just a good guy, and a guy who really knows Kung Fu and a lot of different martial arts. If you follow him on TikTok, you'll see different videos he's put up before Shang-Chi even came out. So, I mean, it's great. And just makes me want to watch more than Kim's Convenience. I'm just saying, if you haven't watched Kim's Convenience and you're a fan of Schitt's Creek or Corner Gas and you're not Canadian, trust me, you're going to want to watch Kim's Convenience as well. It's probably, I think it may be better than, it's definitely better than Corner Gas. And
yeah, I couldn't get into Corner Gas. Me and Amber, we watched.
I couldn't either.
We binged Schitt's Creek. I did like the show. Near the end, not so much. Last season or so, I feel it went on a season or maybe too long. But yeah,
I felt that way about a lot of Canadian shows. I'm not going to lie.
Kim's Convenience, I haven't seen yet. I know Amber likes it.
Yep. There's a lot of Canadian shows that I have a hard time getting into, though. Like, ever since Anna Green Gables back in the day. For real, though. Like, we're like, okay, we get it. We have a Canadian version of Little House on the Prairie, but I don't like that one either. And I only watch it because my parents forced me to watch it. Like, don't make me watch Anna Green Gables 2 now. After that creepy-ass raccoon show. I don't care what anybody says. That was scary as fuck. No. Tell me those raccoons weren't scary. The rip-off Alvin and the Chipmunks. What?
No.
That was the creepiest? That show was so creepy. Those raccoons that were supposed to be the... Only in Canada do we make raccoons heroes. Only in Canada, we're like, oh, hey, let's take trash pandas. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Guardians of the Galaxy. But that's not even a real raccoon. People around the world that are watching this right now, like folks in like Australia. And where was our friend that messaged earlier say he was from again? But they got to be looking at this and being like,
South Africa?
South Africa, yes. They got to be like, what is this raccoon shit they're talking about right now?
Canadian television, man.
And Will says it. Canadians rock.
We do.
I'm thinking we're going to do rank our favorite Canadians maybe next week, though, because I was thinking about it. There's a lot of, and maybe not even our favorite Canadians, but maybe try to do a thing of Canadians that people didn't realize were actually Canadian. Your Martin Shorts, your Rick Moranis's, your Brandon Fraser's, your Ryan Gosling's. People never know Ryan Gosling is Canadian. They all know Ryan Reynolds is.
He's a local boy.
London, right?
When I say local, I mean Southern Ontario.
Southern Ontario. Yeah, he's London, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Just thought Nerds and Revenge of the Nerds. Great movie. Great movie. We interviewed the cast. We sat and had beers with the cast. Which was cool because it was only supposed to be Ogre, right?
Right, and the rest of the nerds that were at the convention that weekend ended up joining us. So
yeah, which was Richard Carradine and one of the other guys that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was cool though. We had a good time though.
Andrew Cass.
I don't know, but the guy that played Ray Jackson, Ogre,
right?
He had some stories about Andrew Barnardski, and he did not care for him at all.
And he totally crushed teenage me sharing some of his Van Damme stories as well.
Because Van Damme's a douchebag.
Yeah.
From every story we've heard about Jean-Claude Van Damme, this just confirms every story we've heard from Entertainment Tonight and all those other things that were like, oh, he's a prima donna, he's this, he's that. Because, yeah, Ogre said, yeah, it's true. Anyways, you know what? Let's get to the news. It's been a while since we did the news. All right, brother. Well, it's that time of the week again. We're starting off with the news, and Steve has got the grumpy look because he knows he is Dr. Death. He is here to deliver the bad news to start us off every week.
Yeah. Starting with musician.
Whoa. Apparently, Amanda Bai is related to Van Damme. I'm sorry, that was breaking news. We had to get that in there.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Let's get to the news, though, and give the respect we do. We should.
Yeah, classic rock fans will know this band. Iron Butterfly had a huge hit in the late 60s, early 70s. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida charted in the top 40 in 1968. This song was famous for having an extremely long drum solo. It was actually the whole B-side of the album at the time, and it was recorded at 17 minutes and 5 seconds. You've seen this movie parodied in The Simpsons where Bart switches the sheet music to the organ player in church, and everybody's singing In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Yeah, so
I didn't know that was them. No way.
Yeah, that leaves Doug Engel as the last surviving member, as we lost a couple of them the last few recent years. So, Ron Bushy died of cancer at 79.
Sorry to hear that. This next one, this one hit me hard.
Yeah, this was a show that we kind of grew up with because our parents watched it, I think, would be the reason. Ed Asner, 91 years old, famous for playing Lou Grant on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Also, 5 seasons as Lou Grant in the spin-off show.
Yeah, the Lou Grant
show. You see there a lot of his voice work. This guy was on everything back then, from Hawaii Five-0 to Gunsmoke to The Fugitive. He won an Emmy Award for his portrayal in Roots, miniseries that was pretty groundbreaking at the time.
I've literally never seen Roots or Mississippi Burning, only because my grandparents would never let me watch either one of them because they're too racist.
I've seen bits and pieces of Roots because, again, it is a mini series. I don't think I've ever sat and watched the whole thing. Mississippi Burning, I've watched a few times. It's a pretty powerful movie.
Yeah. I don't know if I could sit through it even to this day, tell you the truth. And it's just the 5-year-old to 10-year-old in me, whatever age it was, when that came out. My grandparents were like, no, you're not watching that one, never. I was like, oh, okay. Never understood the Roots one though, because as from an outsider's view, and I haven't watched it now just because, like you said, it's a miniseries, so it's so fucking long. But like it always, from an outsider's view, seemed like an inspirational tale, like how they broke away, and
Yeah.
But my grandpa's like, no, it's fucking
Yeah, it's LeVar Burton, right?
Yep.
As Kunta Kinte.
Kunta Kinte, yeah. And so I'm not gonna lie, that's one that used to. So two names used to piss me off when I was a kid growing up in Welland that people would say that would make me want to fight more than someone saying goof to me, which is in Welland. I know it seems weird, but in Welland, if you call someone a goof, you're saying you want to fight. That's all you're saying. If you call someone a goof and they don't swing or say let's fight, then you already won. Like that's just the way it is. It's stupid.
Or
it's
watch your back.
Yeah, it's very stupid, but that's the way it is. But buckwheat used to fucking really drive me crazy, and Kunta Kinte, and I had never even seen that, but I just knew that he was a slave or whatever. So I used to.
Well, there's the famous scene where they're trying to give him an Americanized name, and they're whipping him, and they're saying your name is Toby, and he says,
I've seen that.
Kunta Kinte, and he just keeps repeating it.
Yeah. Amanda says Mississippi Burning is brutal, but really well done. I heard that was the movie that, like, and William Dafoe had already done Platoon, I think, at that point, but that was the one that solidified him as an actor, is what I heard. So it was him and Gene Hackman, right? The Mississippi Burning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know how we got on there from Ed Asner. Rest in peace, Ed.
Yeah.
Great actor, great voice actor for you geeks out there that are watching. I put this up earlier about all the different voices he's done over the year, and he's done even more past Justice League, but he was a mainstay on Gargoyles, which was one of the greatest cartoons ever made. I don't care what anyone says there. And me, as a cartoon nerd, trust me when I say it. But he was J. Jonah Jameson in the 90s Spider-Man movie or TV show that we all grew up watching. He was Dan Turpin on Batman. He was Granny Goodness on Justice League, and so much more. Just a big loss. So much more.
He just had one of those great gritty voices.
Yeah, you just recognize it. So recognizable. And even when he did Granny Goodness as a woman's voice, you knew it was him. As soon as he started talking, that's Ed Asner doing a woman's voice. But yeah. Anyway, so rest in peace. Sad to see. Some other sad news. Stanley Tucci came out recently. Great actor. One of my favorite roles of Stanley Tucci, I don't know if you've ever seen it, was I think it was Romancing the Blues, something like that, where he played El Muerte, and he was the bad guy against Dennis Quaid and his spy wife, Kathleen Turner. Do you remember that one where they were parents, they were spies, they had a young baby? Oh, it was.
No, I don't remember.
It was absolutely ridiculous, but it was so 1989, early 90s. It was perfect. Anyways, he just came out recently and said that he was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and he had an inoperable tumor on his tongue. And he's doing as good as he can right now. Sad news, man. We've said this for years and years and years, and we're not the only ones that ever said this, but I can't reiterate this enough. Fuck cancer, man. Really, fuck cancer. It was an inoperable tumor, like I said, on his tongue. Just sad news, though. Stanley Tucci, one of my favorites. Goliath was my cartoon crush. I'm not going to lie. So I was about 19 when Gargoyles was out, and I lived on my own. I lived above this bar called Hot Shots. You can see Steve's face right there. We used to have these parties every single night. It was the stupidest stuff. My roommate and I would have these parties, and these girls would come over. These same two girls would stay every night, and there was nothing sexual ever happened between any of us. We just party. I swear, there's no point for me lying to you here. We would party, and they would not leave every night until 8 o'clock in the morning, because at 7:30 Gargoyles would come on. And both girls, one of them was very hot. both of them had a crush on Goliath, a cartoon character. So it's funny to see Amanda say that. Undercover Blues is the name of the movie. Yes, Gord, thank you so much. Is there any happy news today? Yes, we have some happy news. We're getting to that. I'm sorry. The next story, I don't know if it's happy news. It's happy news for if you're a Canadian horror fan.
Yeah, a great Canadian horror movie that spawned 3 spin-offs in 1997. Cube was just so weird and so different and so well done. I loved it. I've seen a couple of, I think 1 or 2 of the sequels. I don't think I've seen all 3, but we're now getting
one of them.
Usually what happens is, we get these great Japanese or South Korean horror movies, and then American people remake it. Well, this is the reverse happening here. We're getting a Japanese remake of Cube, and it's going to be out. The release date right now is October 22nd in Japan. So, but I believe it's associated with Lionsgate, so we will see this movie here in North America sometime soon, hopefully. And there's a mini teaser trailer that's out right now if you want to check that out after the show.
Now, wasn't this originally supposed to be come out in 2020?
I think maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember originally hearing about it, and I think you posted the story originally like last year about it coming out in 2020. But yeah, obviously COVID changed plans for them. Hey, that's cool. I'm down with that. And like you said, it's kind of neat to see the opposite happen here. And not even the opposite, because nobody ever remakes Canadian movies.
Right.
But
we're lucky the first one got made.
But I guarantee you, after this one, after the Japanese one, if it's any kind of a success over in Japan, it'll be remade here in the States. Not here in the States, but it'll be remade in the States.
Right.
Now, we talked about that kind of along the same vein. We got some sequel news of something I'm kind of surprised we were getting the sequel to. I liked this movie, and we talked about him earlier as an actor. I really liked the original. I just didn't think they'd ever consider doing a sequel. And that is, we're getting a sequel to Ben Affleck's The Accountant. Now, I don't know if you've seen this movie or not. The Accountant is about Ben Affleck, who is an autistic hitman. So he's on the spectrum, heavy on the spectrum, but he's also a hitman. And yeah, Anna Kendrick was in the first one. I'm not sure if she'll be in the sequel or not. But I didn't mind this movie at all. I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was his best work, but it was all right. Yeah, it's one of those ones that if it comes on while you're kind of flipping, I'd say watch it, but I wouldn't. You're not missing anything if you don't watch it. It's not Affleck's best work. It's not Reindeer Games,
right? If you are,
it's not Jersey Girl. It's not Jersey Girl. But what is? Thankfully, nothing. Amanda, I heard they used the Screaming Tunnels for another movie recently. I'm thinking it was an updated version of The Dead Zone, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. They film a lot at the Screaming Tunnels, though, so you'll see a lot of TV shows that'll film something that's in a tunnel, and it'll be there. American Gothic was filmed in the I'm assuming you're from Niagara, Amanda. But if you're familiar with Thorold and the Thorold Tunnel on Highway 58, they use that for the very first episode of the TV show American Gothic. There was a big car accident that was supposed to take place in the Lincoln Tunnel between New Jersey and New York, I believe it is. But that was all filmed in Thorold. There's a lot of filming around here. Star Trek Discovery films at the Short Hills. That's where they do the Klingon planets and stuff. So the Handmaid's Tale filmed in Hamilton. There's a lot of stuff around, not in Toronto, but on the outskirts, closer to
Shape of Water was filmed in Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh, no shit.
It was Oscar-winning film from Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo, yeah. Oh, you're from St. Kitts. Amanda, hey, local girl. Blue Ghost Tunnel. Okay, so here, tell me that where is the Blue Ghost Tunnel? Is that Screaming Tunnels? Or is
no, that's a different one.
So where's Blue Ghost? Because I think I went there before to film a show with my old assistant.
Yeah, it's been years since I've been there, so I don't remember. I'm pretty sure if you Google it though, it will come up.
All right. Does anyone wish Lauren Cohen got bit in episode 2 of The Walking Dead? No, like unless you mean episode 2 of the first season.
No, he's talking episode 2 of this season.
Is there a reason she's keeping Negan alive? Nobody posted that. I saw that on Comic Book Resources, and I haven't kept up with the show. But yeah, Blue Ghost is in Meriton.
Right, that's right.
Christy Lee, are you saying you wish that Lauren Cohen got bit in episode 2? Let us know. Let us know. Anyways, let's move on with the stories. So Accountant 2 is coming out. That's not the only kind of like remake or sequel that's coming out. We got more movie news.
We just spoke of a Canadian movie being remade in Japan, which usually, Americanized movies get made from Japanese or Korean horror films. This one's going the other way too. We're getting an American remake of Train to Busan and from New Line Cinema, and fans are not happy. I kind of see this a bit because to me, Train to Busan is one of those movies. It's completely subtitled. It's one of those movies though you just lose yourself in and you don't even realize the subtitles after a while. Yeah. It's just such a great movie. Phil might even say it's a horror film because it's just that good. To see this one go the other way, I don't know. It's going to be hard.
Is Blumhouse doing it? Is Blumhouse doing it? I figured I'd ask.
No, James Wan is involved as producer. Director is Timo Tajanatu. Okay. And James Wan said that we need to rise above all this hate and get beyond anyone's expectations, just like other great remakes have done. And then he goes on to mention The Ring and the Dawn of the Dead remake, which was better than the original. But let's be real, the original Dawn of the Dead was like late 70s. So,
but this is from what you're saying, this is an all Asian production in America, right?
Right.
James Wan, who'd you say was the executive producer? I know you mispronounced the name, but
no, he's the director, Timu Tajanatu.
Oh, so he's the director and Wan's
the director. James Wan is producing. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's I'm sorry. I know we said we want to change this. But was it a Karen? Was it somebody that's not even Asian that was complaining? That's my question. Was it the church ladies saying that? Will somebody please think of the children? That's my equivalent to a Karen. That's who we should be talking about. I don't know. It's so hard to say these days. I like to go to the source, not to the source, but ask people that would be offended by that if that's what they actually think, or if it's somebody speaking on their behalf who didn't take the time to actually ask them. Because I find we live in a little bit of that society right now too, where people get offended for others without asking the others if they're actually offended. Train to Busan is a very good movie. I am skeptical. Hope they don't mess it up. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the original. I'm not a horror fan, so I don't know. I'm really not an Asian horror fan because when you want to talk about people who get horror movies right, Korea, oh my God, man. Like, they get it right. I'm good. And when wants to call me a pussy for that, I'm all right with that too. But yeah, no, I'm happy for you. Like, what do you think? Like, you said you're a little skeptical of it?
Yeah, like I said, Train to Busan, they did make the sequel to that, and it was all right. It wasn't great. Peninsula was the sequel to Train to Busan. Like I said, it had been its own movie, I probably would have really enjoyed it. Being a sequel to Train to Busan, which I hold really high, yeah, I think it kind of missed the boat a bit. So we'll see.
Any word on the Walking Dead movie? Is it still happening? Not to change topic. So we had news about that, and the latest episode of Walking Dead alluded to the Rick movies. I'll let you take it from
we
there.
mentioned this last week. Kirkman came out and said that don't worry, we are in pre-production. He goes, we have such high expectations of these movies. He's like, we don't want to fuck these up. We want to get it right and produce a quality product for everyone. So
good. Now, is it true that somebody that appeared in Rick's last episode appeared in this most recent episode of The Walking Dead? Jadis, something like that. Yeah, was that who just showed back up?
I don't know.
Maybe I just read some reports on comicbook.com. I could be getting the name wrong.
No, I think you're right on the name.
Yeah, because they said
you're thinking about the garbage lady.
Yeah, and it would clear up whatever happened to Corey Harkness, I believe the actor's name is, the black dude who had the dreads and the glasses who just disappeared from the show. He was on 24. He played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton. Anyways, no biggie. We shall move on, but there you go. We hope we answered your question to the best of our ability there, Amanda. No worries. You don't worry about us repeating anything at all. We'd rather you know. That's what we're here for.
That's what we do.
That is our thing. Now,
we love repeating ourselves too.
Yes. Now the G, and yes, I went old school, RatG Radio. The G over here is for geek. So keeping along those themes there, I figured I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I absolutely love the Paramount Star Trek continuation. I know a lot of people don't like it because they think it's gone more extreme. I like it because I feel like they've been more realistic in a show about science fiction that was already more realistic than, say, this isn't a slamming of Star Wars.
For a minute.
Yeah. But this show has been absolutely fantastic. This Picard is what I want to talk to you about. Paramount's new series on Star Trek. It's not just Picard. They've got Lower Decks, which is hilarious. A Star Trek show that my son watches. This doesn't happen, I'm telling you, folks. But between that, Picard, and even Discovery, which I really, really do enjoy, I think they've been absolutely killing it. And the newest edition, they've just added on the Borg Queen is coming to season 2. Playing her will be 24 alum Annie Wershing. Now, we've seen her in a lot of stuff. Most recently, she was on the TV show The Runaways. I love this character. We've seen the character on Voyager. We've seen her in Star Trek. I believe it was Generations, or it was the last Star Trek movie with Picard, though. And I'm happy to see her back. And I think Annie is a perfect choice to play her. I think she looks a lot like, I think with the makeup, she could look a lot like the Borg Queen already. And she is an intense actress. I believe she was even on, I could be wrong. I saw her on another TV show, and I think it was Shooter, which was the Ryan Felipe TV show that was based on the Mark Wahlberg show, or movie, which I think was way better than the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't remember liking the movie too much.
Yeah, the TV show is great, though. No, Jadis is in episode 2, maybe episode 3. It's not Awesome Waiting. Blumhouse wouldn't do this. Fair. You made me snort. Annie, ooh la la. Yeah, Annie's gorgeous. And I don't know. I really do blame Marvel Comics for this, but I've always had a thing for redheads. Just saying. Jean Grey, Mary Jane Watson, Rachel Summers. Trust me, there's a million of them. I just don't know. I'm stoned. Anyways, we're going to move on to something. The Borg's whole thing is, assimilate, follow our rules. If not, resistance is futile.
Yeah, some law changes going on in the East. China announced that online gaming will be cut to 3 hours weekly. I think I read weekends, but
And
I
it's
wasn't sure.
just kids under a certain age.
Kids under 18, right? I believe it was. There was actually certain times between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday where they were allowed an hour each week. They said that they're doing this to combat mental health. And there are currently 700 million online gamers in China.
How do we feel about this? I mean, I hate the infringements of rights. If I'm a parent, I am a parent. But if my kids are getting out of control with gaming and stuff like that, we here in the East, we have where you could adjust your internet in your house so that your kids can only be on social media for so long. Like there's extra programs you can pay for that to happen. I don't see a huge difference between the two.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right for them making the decision for all the parents in China.
We grew up in the video game age. Like we literally grew up with video games becoming a thing. You know, like we were a little too young for the arcade scene. Not that we didn't have arcades, but we had them. But
Wizard's Castle.
But in the 70s, that was the big thing. So, but home gaming, that was us. You know what I mean? The NES, the Ataris, the ColecoVisions, the Segas,
the Dreamcast.
I definitely played my share of games, but we also did a lot of stuff outside. So I feel we kind of self-regulated because we never had our parents tell us what to do or when to do it. And my kids growing up, that was a concern for me being a parent. We actually used to, instead of giving them actual money, I used to pay my kids for chores with Monopoly money. And then they would use the Monopoly money to buy media time, which they were still only allowed so much per night and so much on weekends, but it was nowhere near 3 hours. I think they were allowed an hour a night during the week, school nights, 2 hours on a Friday, and 3 hours or 4 hours on a Saturday and a Sunday.
That's not bad, though. That's actually a pretty good idea, especially if you're getting them to do other things like reading or work.
And now Austin plays like 26 hours a day. So
wow, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, if only I had time. Well, during layoff, yes.
Yes.
During layoff, yes.
Listen, I'm not accusing from a place where I'm not doing the same when I have the time. Just saying. We will be the first generation, I think, that goes into old age homes saying, where's my PS12?
Right.
I'm not going in here unless I can have
having to play virtually or with our minds because our hands are...
Whatever. I'm telling you, if I'm in the hospital, I better be able to have some kind of form of playing video games. When I'm on my deathbed.
Yeah.
Genius. My 8-year-old son is a gamer and semi-addicted. We're all addicted, though. Yeah. Even those of us that put regulations on our kids or have in the past, we're all like, that's who we are, yo. Yeah. What a great way to reach him, reward, and work. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah. And all my kids have a great concept of money. I applaud them for that. They're all very much young adults. And
if I was ever to have kids again, which I never, ever, 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 ever will, and if I do, I'm just being serious. I would go that route though, because that's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. Yeah, and hey, man, I mean. What do you think, though, about China saying that, making that regulated for, though, all, like they're making the decision for the parents, though? And I mean, we've got our own shit going on here as well, like that. But I mean, like it's one of those things. I don't know.
We don't like to get political on this show, but I will say, just get out and vote.
Yeah, just do your thing.
All you can do.
And it's weird that, you know what, though, and people say that, and we're not getting political. The only thing that I say about that is no matter who's in power, will make the same decision. They just want to keep, we'll get into that, but no matter who's there, they'll make the same. They'll follow status quo. Amanda says, mine is Mine are 1 month to the day apart. I get it, and I'm 40. 13. My oldest is 27. Going to be 27 soon this month. My next is 20, and then the youngest is 17. I am old.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah,
You weren't supposed to agree.
we have a 20, an 18, and a 17. Like, it's crazy.
And that's only because you waited till after high school.
Right.
All right, let us move on with the rest of the stories here. I forget where we left off there as I'm looking through here. We just talked about the China. Well, speaking of China, we'll get into this a bit. Maybe not so much China, but I don't think you've seen it yet. Have you seen the new Shang-Chi movie?
I haven't.
Well, my son and I, we went out and watched it opening night Thursday. It was a good movie. I'm not saying it's the best Marvel movie. Like a lot of people, they're saying it's not the best Marvel movie, but it is a good movie. Like there's a lot of great martial arts in it. There's some good story. I found with the movie, and this is my partial review of it, far too much flashbacks. Like, I mean, there was a flashback. It felt like every 45 minutes or so, or less. There
was a flashback star wiped though, because you can never get enough of those.
That at least would have made more sense to me. But no, it was a decent movie, and it sets up the rest of Phase 4 really nicely. So I really like that. What I really found kind of crazy, especially we were just talking about this kind of crazy new world we're living in with COVID, and a lot of people aren't going to the theaters. This movie has already made, as of yesterday or as of this morning, it was $75 million at the box office. There was talk, and I don't think it'll do it, but there was talk that this could break the Labor Day box office record. This is during a pandemic. That's fucking awesome. One thing I will say about this movie after watching it, Tony Leung, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, the guy that plays the Mandarin or Shang-Chi's father, is one of the best actors I think I've ever seen. Like, I mean, and you know me, when it comes to acting, I'm about the acting part of it. And every scene with this guy, you look in his eyes, there's no acting there. You're seeing a person that's in the moment every single time, which to me is the ultimate acting. And I'm not saying I've never seen it. I've just rarely seen someone get to that depth where they're like, there was even parts in Pulp Fiction where John Travolta lost it, where Tony Leung, every scene he's in, he is 100. He's Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I mean, the guy is that good. So if you go and watch that movie, no matter what you may think of the movie superhero-wise, pay attention to that guy, because I would hire this guy to be in everything. Like, he was just so awesome. It was great. And that's it. That's my Shang-Chi review. If you want my rating out of 10, I would probably give that movie, I would say a 6.5, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, decent movie. There was some stuff that you're like, There's a Falcor movie. There's a moment in the movie where you're like, oh my God, never ending story. But aside from that, I turned to my son and I'm like, Falcor. And he's like, what? What is that? Falcon's not even in this movie. No, Falcor. Yes. Anyways, yeah, that was my whole story about that. I'm not going to beat a dead drum, beat a dead horse, beat a drum, or beat a dead horse. I'm not going to do either.
Or beat a star.
Hey, no, I'm not going to.
So those in Germany may have seen this live. The rest of the world got to find this out a day or so later. But a German TV show called Beat the Stars, basically a game show. someone stormed the stage from the audience, which in this day and age is a very scary thing. As we know, Dimebag Darrell Pantera was shot as a fan came up on stage, and
Monica Seles, the tennis player.
Yeah, you just don't know people's agendas. And as this guy walked towards the host, he screamed at him, demanded to know when the release date of Grand Theft Auto 6 was. To which the host looked at him and said, "How the fuck would I know?" As he was pulled away by security.
The only thing that would have made this story better was if he would have headbutted him in the nose and then said that. If he would have Ziggy Zidane him and been like, "How the fuck would I know?" That would have been perfect. But, I mean, folks, I get it. I don't get it, honestly. I never understood streakers. Steve might get it. He's been on stage with people. Have you ever streaked?
So in high school, I was dared to streak. There was actually quite a bit of, I think it was up to about $400 was the pot, and I didn't bite on it. I regretted. I remember regretting not doing it. But
was it during a basketball game? I'm going to say it wasn't football because you played football.
No. It was during another team sporting event outside.
Track and field?
Soccer.
Oh, I didn't play soccer.
But
I played it in elementary school. That was it.
Either. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wasn't that going on during football season? We didn't pay. Did we have a soccer team? Oh, we did too. Pete Lingell, Mike Picaro, and all them were on the team. I remember. Shout out to those guys. All right, cool. So that was Beat the Star. You can't often beat the stars though when it comes to court, even though Disney's trying. But they're seeming to piss off a lot of people with this whole Scarlett Johansson thing. Now, whether you're on ScarJo's side or not, she had a contract signed that wouldn't have happened. That Black Widow would not have been released on there. Yeah. Whether she signed that deal with Marvel and then Disney took over afterwards or not is irrelevant. That deal was still in place. So she has a legitimate beef. And she's not the only one that thinks that way. The Russo brothers behind Captain America Civil War, Captain America the Winter Soldier, both Avengers Infinity War, and of course Endgame. And also, a lot of people don't know this, but they were writers on Community as well. That's why we see so many Community actors do cameos in the Marvel movies. They were approaching a deal to make another Marvel movie. Because right now they're considered Marvel royalty, especially when it comes to directing. Talks have stalled ever since the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit has come into effect. I mean, I don't know where you stand on all this, and I don't mean you specifically, but I mean the fans. But really, I can't fault them. I don't want to side with millionaires bickering over them not getting money. But this isn't about millionaires not getting money. This is about a contract was signed. No matter who the fuck you are, you signed something knowing, like, you knew. Like, you didn't know about COVID, but you knew when you signed it, this is what was said, and then you still went and did what you did. As a fan, I was one of the people saying, bring out Black Widow. Let's just bring it out, put it out on Disney Plus or All Access, but I didn't have a shark in the game. I didn't have a horse in the game, so it didn't, my thing shouldn't have mattered. Disney really shouldn't have worried about me or the rest of the fans saying, release it now. I don't know why they're not releasing it now. What they should have said is, listen, they should have just been transparent, in my opinion, and said, listen, we have a deal that says that we can't release this movie. It was something that was written before COVID happened, and we just can't avoid it. So sorry, right now, it's going to have to wait till they can be released at another time or whatever. Or rework the deal with Scarlett Johansson so that she makes half the fucking money that comes from that, or even more, whatever. compensate her for that. Just accept. You're Disney. Accept the loss. Give her all the money. You still wouldn't see the difference. You still wouldn't notice it in your pocket. That's just my opinion. I think the Russo brothers. I think they're doing right by their people. This is like a coach in football sticking by one of their players, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think? Like, you're not a big...
like I said, when this story first broke, I kind of compared it to, like, we always talk about the the NHLPA or the football when they sign these players agreements with the league for so many years, and it's you're right. It's if they don't get the money, the corporation just gets bigger or gets paid more money.
Right.
But I more so in sports, what it tends to happen from year to year, because even though going to the cinema is expensive, ticket prices have slowly rise. It's unfortunately drinks and stuff like that has really been inflated over the years. And with sporting events, I find it really hurts the fans.
Yep. For sure. Well, you even mentioned it with the concession. We went to watch Shang-Chi and it was $9 a beer. And we're not talking the same size beers that we were paying over at Budweiser stage. Which were how much for those ones?
$17, I think.
Oh yeah, it was way better.
No, $13. $13 because it was like 28 for two with tax.
Oh, yeah. All right, never mind. It was way better at the cinema. But still, actually, $4 still. Anyway, so it is what it is. It's just kind of shitty. I mean, that's enough of my story time.
Yeah, new podcast. It seems like everybody and their dog has a podcast these days. And
but we were doing it first.
Fellow Canadians jumping into the ring with story time with Seth Rogen. This is going to be a podcast where he invites, he said sometimes it'll be celebrities, sometimes it'll just be a friend, and each individual podcast will focus on one crazy story.
Oh, shit, eh? Yeah. I mean, I'm down with that. I like him in his new producer role. But I do like a lot of the stuff that he's producing and stuff. Him and Evan Goldberg, I think, are a great team for recognizing talent and good.
They killed it with Preacher. They're killing it with the boys.
I'm just saying, they know what they're doing. They're smart. They are smart when it comes to entertainment. And I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to be the racist, typical, Jewish guys know how to run Hollywood. I'm saying, like, it just happenstance that they happen to be Jewish. These guys are fucking great, though. Like,
Seth Rogen wrote Superbad at like 16. He was doing stand-up at 16.
Did you read his book?
I haven't read his book yet, no, but it is on my list.
Yeah. I didn't read it, but I listened to it. I have Audible, so I listened. I bought the book.
I have Audible, too, and that's how the Bert Kirshner book I did on
Let
Audible.
me just say, is that Bert Kirshner part of... Listen, this isn't a commercial for Audible, but if you guys want to sponsor us, cool. Is that part of the new package they have at Audible? Did you see the new package where it's Audible Plus? So you get an entire library that's just absolutely free titles. And I'm a little pissed because a couple of them are shit that I've already paid for. But seriously, they've got an entire huge library. One that I was holding off on getting, but I wanted to get because I really love Stephen Fry, especially as a narrator. So I've got his Greek heroes, I've got his Greek mythos, I've got his Norse mythology, and I'm a big Sherlock Holmes guy, but I was holding off on buying the Sherlock Holmes one. Just came out for free if you're an Audible member. So if you're an Audible member, folks, you're getting all this shit for free. If you drive a lot like I do, it fucking saves you so much.
I've never been a big fiction guy. When it comes to fiction, I want my TV shows. I want my movies. I want it to be done for me. I love my documentaries. I love my autobiographies, my biographies. And that's my big thing is rock biographies. So I love listening to those, especially when they get the actual person to narrate the book.
True. Yeah, which doesn't happen enough. You know what, though? Speaking of kind of getting the right person for the role, Cartoon Network has a show called Rick and Morty. Have you watched it? I know you've heard of it. Have you ever watched it?
I have watched a few episodes. Yeah,
It's a
definitely a very
spoof.
funny show.
It's a very crass spoof of basically Doc Brown and
Right.
fucking Marty. It's Rick and Morty, Doc and Morty, Marty. Well, people always made the comparison to Christopher Lloyd. Well, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, may I say, thank you for this.
Morty. Well,
Oh, jeez.
That's so fucking great. I mean, we needed this. We love seeing this. Would have been great to see. Like, it's too late for Michael J. Fox, obviously, to do something like that. I forget the actor's name, but he's from Silicon Valley that played Morty there. But
Okay.
that wasn't their original choice. Their original choice was going to be none other than Harry Potter's own Daniel Radcliffe. Scheduling problems came up, so unfortunately that wasn't something they were able to do. But yeah, man, I love anytime a big company does fan service like that.
Yeah.
But you know who's doing fan service? The Olympics.
The Olympics are doing fan service. The NHL has agreed to play in the Olympics again after missing the Beijing? No,
The last Olympics?
the last Olympics. No,
Go
this
on
one's
for a bit. I'll be
upcoming
right
one in Beijing. Anyways, they skipped the 2018 Olympics. They will be at the 2022 games. Came into an agreement Friday. They do, however, the NHLPA wanted a condition in the contract to say that they have the option to drop out if they at some point don't feel comfortable with the restrictions or the state of the planet at the time, I guess. Are you still with me? Am I still with you? All right. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Really, though.
Oh, you are there. Okay. I
am
we were
here.
closing.
I am here. I told you just to wait a second and cover for
Oh,
me,
I
but
didn't hear that.
I didn't figure you heard that. Well, that happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, hey, Canada. I think this is going to be our time. Again. I don't know, though, man. I get worried, especially when it comes to Olympic hockey lately, just because every country in the world has upped their game so much. Like, I mean, it used to be, maybe the Russians. And then for a while, it was like, the Americans. No, it's like the Russians, the Americans, the Finns, the Swedes, Czechoslovakia.
I mean, that being said, we are still just over 50% of the league.
True. Well, let's see if that translates into gold. Hey, let me ask you something. Talking about team-based games, have you played Call of Duty? Are you a Call of Duty guy?
I have played the games, not really a whole lot online, but I have played them, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the first-person shooters. Now, recently they added a couple downloadables. They've been kind of going the Fortnite route by adding, characters like, Fortnite's added like, all these comic book characters like Wolverine and Thor and shit like that. Well, most recently, Call of Duty added both John Rambo and John McClane, which is awesome. Well, another one is coming our way. That's right. Judge Dredd. I am the law. Is going to be joining us soon. Famous comic book character and movie character. Coming to Call of Duty Warzone and Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Activision announced that today. Judge Dredd will join as 2 new and different operator skins for Beck during the upcoming Season 5 reload for both Call of Duty Warzone and Call of Duty Black Ops. This is set for September 9th release, which, man, I'm a Call of Duty guy, so I'm still playing this game all the time. I'm down for this. I'm not one of those guys though that pays for stuff online. Like I know you do a little bit with GTA and stuff.
Yeah.
I've never really been kind of like that guy, but I did. I have to say I'm guilty of buying John McClane.
Who can follow you?
Dude, his finishing move. So I don't know if you know there's finishing moves in Call of Duty now. So
Yeah.
if you come up behind someone, you can stab them or whatever. John McClane's finishing move is the Hans Gruber kill.
Nice.
So good, so good. And even when you're him, he says "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." He says when you shoot somebody's ammo, he's like, "No more bullets." I mean, there's so many different quotes from the movie. As a fan, I got my money's worth. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know, man. I'm feeling jacked when I play it.
Yeah, someone who hasn't been feeling jacked lately. Def Leppard and Motley Crue's reunion was supposed to kick off 2 years ago on a huge stadium tour. Vince Neil was posting pictures of him working out and eating right, and actually was starting to look pretty good. The
Not
voice,
here.
I haven't seen that improve. He's played a couple pandemic and pre-pandemic shows where he still hasn't sounded great, but now it's being reported that he's receiving a fat-burning treatment called M-Sculpt Neo, which is radio frequency at high intensities and electromagnetic energy that reduces the fat cells and encourages muscle growth.
So
And
Vince is going to go.
Vince, I'm glad Vince is trying to get in shape and get fit, just not for a tour to make money, but for himself and for a longer life. But Vince, work on the voice.
Well,
That's what everybody needs. You
True,
need to work
true.
on the voice.
True, but maybe the body will help. And I showed the picture here from it's like last year, I think.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Looks rough. But I've seen an updated picture of him now after taking this drug, and I got to say, Vince is looking pretty good, man. I got to say, I think that's the same drug that Joe Rogan's taken to combat COVID.
The horse tranquilizer?
Yeah, it's the horse tranquilizers. They call him Red. Why do they call him Red? Because
I'm immune, man.
Yeah. Great movie. Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, Tommy Chong. I mean, Tara Strong was in that movie as well. I know you don't know who that is offhand, but she played the very kind. She was the class slut. She's a voice actress though, and she's huge. She's Timmy Turner in Fairly Odd Parents. She's Harley Quinn in the old Batman cartoon. She does everything. She's big, but not as big as Vince.
Looking good, Vince. Looking good.
Looking snazzy, Vince. Last story. Lucifer season 6 dropped its newest trailer. You need to tell your daughter to leave the room. There might be some spoilers because I know she's
a few seasons behind. So
yeah, so she's out. Anyone that is caught up, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. God showed up last season. His father, of course. God and his mother retired from godhood, and Lucifer has taken over the crown of God. And we saw that in the upcoming trailer. I'm not going to show you the whole trailer because we don't want to get thrown off. I will show you my favorite part from the trailer. You can tell this is the final season because, yes, they've already done a musical. But if you've done a musical and jumped the shark, there's only one last thing to do to jump the shark.
So make quiet the entrance.
All right. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I love this show. I think it's great. I'm down for this. Yes, there is going to be a cartoon episode, or at least part of an episode that's going to be cartoon. Whatever. It's the last season. I think they should have as much fun as they possibly can. Honestly, do what you can, have fun, and go out on a bang.
be the Drew Carey show every season.
Not the last 3 seasons when Mimi took the makeup off. Let's be honest. I'm not trying to shame. I'm really not. This is an observation on my part. But Mimi looked better with the makeup on. And that makeup was bad.
Is
Like
that possible?
purposely bad.
Is that possible?
Did you see the last season, later seasons where she stopped wearing the makeup? Like the bad makeup? And she just wore normal makeup?
Dude, she
That's
was
not.
scared
I'm not trying to shame her because I think she's a fantastic actress. But her and the Mimi makeup.
It was interesting.
Steve agreed. So send all your hate mail to
Wellandwingnut at gmail.com.
Do it.
One story we missed, Vacation Friends. Hulu has announced
right.
Vacation Friends 2 is already in the works. This was a huge hit for them.
Hilarious.
It is the biggest 3-day opening for Hulu and the most streamed film for them in a 3-day opening since the services was created.
I can watch it when I want.
I've still not seen it. It's in my queue to watch, and I haven't done it yet, but I will definitely watch it soon. I mean, yeah. It's Cena. It's Cena being so awkward that I'm going to feel awkward watching him. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm not lying. I don't want to feel awkward watching awkward Cena. I don't want to see another movie where something goes up his
Hopefully
butt.
you don't see him in most of it.
What?
Hopefully you don't see him in most of it.
Well, with that, folks, we've been here a long time. I do want to thank you for staying tuned with us. If you have an idea for next week's episode, I think I already brought one up. We will talk about, so far, it is us talking about best Canadian celebrities next week. No, there's nothing Canadian holiday going on, but hey, why the fuck not? Or at least Canadians you didn't know were Canadians that are celebs. Anyways, got anything to go out on?
No, just remember, if you're currently unemployed, this weekend isn't for you. It's called Labor Day, damn it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Again, send all your hate mail to the Wellandwingnut at gmail.com.
Oh, hopefully 2022 is better to you. Hopefully it's better to everybody. It's, still kind of confusing times we're living in right now, and just be kind to each other.
Yeah, for sure. Later, Gord. Oh my God, 13. Yes. She's talking about the ages there. And yeah, well, hey, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, new viewers, old viewers, all viewers in between, for the Wellandwingnut and that mysterious arm of Vishnu that appeared behind him. I'm your boy Zeus, and we will see you all next time.